And now let's solve further examples on differentiation of products. Now, in this time, we are given a value of t in which we will substitute after we have found the differential. So let's start with question 1. It said evaluate the I dt correct to four significant figures when t is equal to 0.1. So number 1, it say I is equals to 15t sine 3t. Now we can see from here that it is also applicable. Product rule is applicable. So we have u and we have v. So our u is 15t and our v is sine 3t. Now since we have the variable t, we are no longer going to be considering du dx, but now we'll be considering du dt and dv dt. Now du dt of 15t is 15 and dv dt applying sine 80 principle, we have it to have 3 cos 3t. Now then we apply the formula di dt is equal to u dv dt plus v du dt. Now our u is 15t and our dv dt is 3 cos 3t plus our v, which is sine 3t, and our du dt, which is 15. Now after this is done, we simplify and we have this to be 45t cos 3t plus 15 sine 3t. Now if you go back to the question, we have evaluated the I dt. Then this time we are going to substitute t is equal to 0.1. Therefore, when t is equals to 0.1, the I dt is equals to 45. So wherever we see t, we substitute 0.1 cos 3 into 0.1 plus 15 sine 3 into 0.1. And we have to understand that this 0.1 here and likewise the 0.1 here are in radians. Very important. So when we solve this, we will have our answer to give us 8.732. 8.732. Now let's look at the second question. Second question says evaluate the z dt correct to four significant figures when t is equals to 0.5, given that z is equals to 2 exponential 3t sine 2t. And we have that z is 2 exponential 3t sine 2t. Now the first thing we have to do is to pick one to be u as usual and pick the other to be v. So our u is 2 exponential 3t and our v is sine 2t. Therefore, our du dt here, according to differentiating exponential 80, we have it to be 2 multiplied by 3 exponential 3t. And our v, our dv dt, will give us 2 cos 2t. So this du dt will give us 6 exponential 3t. Now let us apply product rule. We are differentiating z with respect to t. and this will give us u dv dt plus v du dt. And what is our u? Our u is 2 exponential 3t. Our dv dt is 2 cos 2t. Our v is sine 2t. Our du dt is 6 exponential 3t. Now this will give us 4 exponential 3t cos 2t plus 6 exponential 3t sine 2t. Now let's go back to the question. The question says evaluate dz dt, which we have done, and correct to false significance when t is equals to 0.5. Now when t is equals to 0.5, we substitute for t in dz dt. That's 4 exponential 3 into 0.5 cos 2 into 0.5 plus 6 exponential 3 into 0.5 multiplied by sine 2 into 0.5. And remember that the 0.5 in the trigonometrics are in radians. So we solve this with our calculator. We have 32.31. So it is very important as we wrap up differentiation of a product. And we recall that if y is equals to uv, where u and v are products of x, then the y dx, where u and v are functions of x, then the y dx is equal to u dv dx plus u plus v du dx. In our next video, we'll be considering differentiation of a product, of a quotient, okay, such that instead of having y is equals to uv, we will having y is equals to u divided by v.